What's up, Excel fanatics? Verdexes here. Today's video I'm going through a function called DGET, and I'm actually doing a direct comparison to VLOOKUP with it. That's because they're both similar in functionality, but they don't always work for every scenario. So it's not a substitute, is what I want to make sure I'm pointing out. So I'm going to walk through the formula now, and I'll just show you exactly what I mean. If you haven't seen my VLOOKUP videos before, I do have a few of those already that you can take a look at, maybe if that's easier before you're watching, but I'll try to walk through it as efficiently as I can. But starting with the DGET formula here, so essentially where it's similar, right? So if we do DGET, the database is the table array that we're looking for. So I'm just going to highlight from B3 to E8. Make sure you lock that. When you're highlighting the table, you have to make sure that you're including the header names here. This plays a role in the next part. So just keep that in the back of your mind. The field is the column we want it to display when the criteria is found. So what we're looking for, like the VLOOKUP, so say it finds it and the output of the formula, we pick the column that we want it to be in, right? So it's always going from left to right. So in this case, I'm looking for the employed. So that's the fourth column here. So I'll do 4. You can also do, since you are including the column names, you can write in quotation marks employed. But let's just keep it as 4 just so we can give it a better direct comparison to VLOOKUPs. And then the criteria, I know it's a little cut off here, but the criteria here I'm doing, it's going to be name, and make sure the name aspect, the column header is included, and then what you're looking for. So down here is TED. So one more time. So here's the database where we're looking for our data. Here's the column that we want to display once the criteria, which is what we're looking for, is found. So essentially we're looking for Ted and we want it to display his employment status. So hit enter and it says yes, right? So if you're with the VLOOKUPs, the way you would do that is you look up the value, table array. You don't need the columns there, but you can do it. F4, column 4, and then false for an exact match, right? That works. So with the VLOOKUP in this situation, if I drag it down, that fills in nicely. That's fine. So if I try to drag DGET down, it's not going to work. So the thing is, it needs to make sure that's where this flaw comes in for the DGET. It needs to make sure that the column header is always above what you're looking for. It's because it won't work on a big data set then. It's only really meant to find something specific. Like if you're just kind of using it as an inquiry, you can use this formula. But otherwise, for like a VLOOKUP, when you're trying to recode or find something like a long list of rows, it's not the VLOOKUP. It wins in this situation. It's just you would have to write name. So I'm just going to insert a row here. If I write name, if I just adjust this, then it works. But that's a very inefficient use of your time to have to do that. So that in this situation, DGET would not be good. So the thing is, though, where DGET is good, even though the situation is a bit flawed, VLOOKUPs can't look past. They need to always find whatever you're looking for. Always needs to be in the first column, and it's always a left to right situation, right? So if I do VLOOKUP, I'm just going to play this out. So if I try to do VLOOKUP of age, and I highlight the whole column, the whole data set, column 1 where the name is, if I wanted to display name, and then hit false, that's not going to work. That's where the VLOOKUP is flawed. So where DGET is good, it's not obligated to a left to right situation. So if I just highlight the whole thing for the database, F4, field 1, because that's where the name is, and then the criteria being the age and 21, that works. So that has a backlook faction. It's able to look back. It's not limited to having to start with the first column being the first resource to find, unlike the VLOOKUP. So that's a positive there for sure. So I do have a part 2 to this that I'm going to show you guys, but as of right now, I think this is good stopping point. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful for you, and I will see you in part 2.